Hi, my name is Abdul Majid, and in this video we will be talking about the element sulfur. Have you ever burned your hair and noticed that it had a horrible smell? It smells so bad it can even be compared to the smell of rotten eggs. Have you ever felt joint pain out of nowhere? If you feel like this is you or is happening to you and you still don't know why, I have the solution. But before I tell you the solution, we're going to need to know more about the problem. In this video, you will learn more about the importance of sulfur, as well as what happens when there is too little or too much sulfur in your body. Sulfur is a major mineral of the body that is part of amino acids and helps with many bodily processes. If you didn't know, sulfur is actually an essential element to life. In fact, sulfur is the third most abundant element in the human body after calcium and phosphorus. Simply put, without sulfur, we humans would all die. There's a way to finding how much sulfur is actually in your body. According to the sulfur calculator, I, weighing 125 pounds, should have around 113.5 grams of sulfur in my body. The real question is, how much sulfur should you have in your body? Adults should be taking 14 milligrams of sulfur per kilogram of body weight. Therefore, a person weighing 70 kilograms, independent of age and sex, is required the consumption of around 1.1 grams of sulfur daily. Two major problems occur when talking about the consumption of sulfur. People either take in too much sulfur or take in too little into their body. That's why it's really important to do neither of those and maintain a balance of sulfur in your body. Some people don't even realize they're eating things that are rich in sulfur. One of these is eggs. We've all smelled that rotten egg smell at some point in our lives. This stench has plagued anyone who has made hard-boiled eggs and forgotten about them on the stove for a few extra minutes. To answer our earlier question, why hair smells bad when burned, this is because your hair contains sulfur, which is part of a compound that gives rotten eggs their stinky odor. From animal products, including fish and meat, dairy products like milk and cheese, to nuts and seeds, they all contain amounts of sulfur. Some have more sulfur than others, but the bottom line is to include a variety of sulfur-rich foods from the list above, since they all have health benefits and contribute to good overall health. There are many other ways people get exposed to sulfur. Like I just mentioned, it's in a wide variety of our foods. Sulfur is also in sprays you apply to your skin. It can even get in your eyes. You could even breathe it in. This can also happen if you get some on your hands and eat without washing your hands first. Yes, sulfur may be present in many things, but first we need to know how it really works inside and outside of our body. Outside of our body, sulfur can actually kill insects and fungi if they touch it. Inside of our body, sulfur plays an important role in the body and is necessary for the synthesis of certain key proteins. For example, sulfur is needed to protect your cells from damage. Sulfur even has antibacterial effects against the bacteria that causes acne. It also may help promote and loosen the shedding of skin. For this same reason, you might see sulfur as an ingredient in many skin powders or liquids used as medicines. Sulfur isn't toxic to people, but when people have too much of it in their body, they increase their chances of having sulfur side effects. These include burning sensations, diarrhea, coughing, irritation to skin and eyes, and the worst case of all, death. This is because sulfur can kill brain cells, leading to brain damage. Sulfur could also be melted if it's heated at 239.4 degrees Fahrenheit. When melted, sulfur becomes sulfur dioxide, a gas. And if that gas is inhaled, coughing, shortness of breath, sore throat, and labored breathing are all caused. Sadly, the only way to reduce sulfur intake is to simply reduce eating habits of high sulfur foods. When doing this, you need to keep in mind that stopping sulfur intake completely is just as bad as eating too much of it. If you do completely stop your sulfur intake, you open yourself to many issues. For one, we've already mentioned that sulfur is used to make protein, so if there is too little sulfur or a sulfur deficiency, it could lead to reduced protein synthesis. A sulfur deficiency can cause a cascade of other problems. For instance, without sufficient sulfur to make cytosine, there could be reduced glutathione synthesis, which may contribute to cell damage. To answer the earlier question about sudden joint pain, the answer might be having a sulfur deficiency. You see, sulfur is also needed to create connective tissues that supports your joints, such as cartilage, tendons, and ligaments. So if we think about this connection, we could see that a deficiency of sulfur could contribute to joint pain or even joint disease. To solve this problem, you just simply eat more food that are high in sulfur. You see, if you're an omnivore, meaning you have no problem eating animal based foods, you're most likely not going to have any problems getting sulfur back into your diet. The problem comes to the people who follow a strict vegan diet plan that doesn't include animal products. This means they have to better plan their diet to make sure they get sufficient amounts of sulfur in their body. This is because good sources of sulfur are animal based foods, and since these foods are off limits to vegans, they have to include lesser sources from plants like Brussels sprouts and smelly vegetables. Sulfur deficiencies are becoming more common due to reduced inputs of sulfur from atmospheric deposition, as well as change in agriculture practices and growth of high yield crops. Sulfur is naturally occurring and has been known since ancient times. In fact, it's mentioned in the Bible as brimstone and was first discovered in France during the year 1777. Today, sulfur is found in two places, one being near hot springs and the other being near volcanic regions. Sulfur is bright yellow, but its color could be altered due to impurities and mixtures. Sulfur is mined and then used for a wide variety of things, ranging from explosives, plasticizers, medicines, rubber, detergents, paints, fertilizers, and much more.